Welcome to the demonstration of the Federation Benefit Calculator developed by WAYF, Where Are You From?, which is a Danish identity federation. Let's have a look at the architecture to better understand the context we're working in. WAYF is a hub and spoke federation, so we have a central federation component in the middle here, WAYF. We have services connected on the left-hand side with a single connection to the federation each. Also on the other side, on the right-hand side, we have IDPs or institutions connected. Each has a single connection to the federation also, but keep information about their users and authentication mechanisms, login systems locally. WAYF is an empty shell, so to speak, receiving requests for access and responses with information about the users. This way we can obtain statistical information about who uses what services. An important point is here that an IDP with a single connection don't have to do anything or change anything when new services are connected. Their users will be able to get through this single connection access to many services. Now let's have a look at the system. This is what it looks like, and you see, as we saw in the diagram before, we have services on the left hand side, institutions or IDPs on the right hand side, and no WAYF in the middle for graphical reasons, but you have to imagine the federation component being somewhere here in the middle, connected to all entities here. There are many services and many identity providers, including a connection to the national eID authentication system. Each entity, services and institutions alike, have an attached number, which is the estimated integration cost to WAYF in the middle. So the connection to the central hub has a cost attached to it, and an IDP, for instance, which uses now 10 different services, well, they could in principle integrate directly to them, but that would be very expensive. Instead, they now have a single connection to the federation in the middle, and that seems to be a lot cheaper. So looking at the information we get from this setup, we can now tell which services are actually being used by this IDP. So there's a number of active users, there's a number of logins, and of course in the pie chart here you also see presented which services they use. So having this in mind, we can now calculate, based on the usage statistics, all connections, active connections from an IDP to a service or more services. As you know, many IDPs uses many services. Now, if we, for one IDP, simply just add up the integration costs listed on the left-hand side for the services, if there was no WAYF in the middle, they would have to integrate to each of the services, and that would be a very expensive thing. Now, based on the statistics and all active connections, we can tell that the cost would be 16 million Danish kroners if there was no WAYF in the middle. As everybody has connected to the entity in the middle, WAYF, now the integration costs for all the active connections are 4 million. So the benefit, so to speak, is 12.3 million. We can change, of course, the way we define active connections. So now we say, instead of number of active users, we take active logins, and the numbers change immediately. So we can now pinpoint the limiting factor for usage of many services by IDPs, which is integration cost. So in principle, one of the main benefits of the federation is, of course, now that we can minimize the integration cost and thereby get a higher number of services available for the IDPs and thereby also for the users. So this is not cost saving, but this is enabling many services for the users and many users for the services.